Welcome to the Insubordinate Academic Podcast web thing. Hey, before we go any further, can I ask you guys to press like, subscribe, share this, pet your dog, kiss your cat, feed your hamster. What else should people do?
Give your fish a wave.
Yeah, wave your fish.
Do all those good things. I said it usually at the end. You probably tuned out at that point. So, hey, it's another week
and
of
subscribe.
Yeah, hit subscribe. There's another week of absolute crap, and I'd like to start with a video to get us started. It's by what do you call these people? He's not an influencer. He's what is he?
Like a YouTube content creator?
Content creator. I like that. Okay, and his name is Rudy Ayub. Please begin with this one.
Yeah.
You wanted to see me, boss? The way she moves her body is amazing. One second, buddy. Rudy, I was wondering where the end of month report was.
Oh, I was supposed to have that.
On my desk this morning. And why is it not?
I'm really sorry. I've been very distracted.
Distracted? And what's more important than your job right now?
Nothing.
Exactly. So I'd expect it by the end of day, right? So yeah, the way she moves her body is fascinating.
It's just so completely accurate.
Mm-hmm. He did a really good job putting it all into.
Really good job. So Rudy Ayub, I think, is Lebanese, so I'm sure his day is even shittier now. But that expectation to work is something that if you're a BIPOC person, or you know what, not even just a BIPOC person, if you're a human being.
Yeah, with
empathy.
empathy.
The social conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you're not supposed to have anything impact your time at school, your time at work, in any way whatsoever. And
compartmentalize.
Yeah,
leave that at the door, you know?
No one's going to give you any slack for it. And it's not universal. I mean, there are some things that if things occur, everything shuts down. Everything goes quiet. You guys you're too young to remember 9/11, but when 9/11
No, I
happened,
remember.
Do you?
Yeah. I remember because I hadn't made it to school yet and we never had a TV, and so we went to my grandparents' house.
Okay, what happened in school though?
I don't know. I didn't make it to school yet, so I would have been in grade 1.
Okay, did anyone talk to you in school about it at all?
Not that I can remember.
You can't remember. Roxy, you have some memories of it.
Well, I just remember you talking to me about it.
Okay, you don't remember what happened in school though, eh?
No, I remember like for the rest of my time at elementary school, we always had that, like there was a day about it, right? You had like the moment of silence and but
even though it happened in the United States,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And you're Canadian, yeah. There were some things. There were some of my friends contacted me and just said, was this right? And some of them had their kids brought into the gymnasium where a television was playing, so that all the teachers could be together to watch what was happening.
Did the kids get to play, or the kids had to sit and watch?
The kids had to sit.
I heard, like, I think Joey and I talked about it once, and he remembers like a TV being wheeled in.
Yeah.
And then everybody got to go home.
Yeah, I hear that story a lot from older people.
Like we were, I think it was in the morning. Like I hadn't made it to school yet. Like my school hadn't started yet. So because like just with like time change, like it was, yeah.
But they had all the kids go in and watch it happening?
Well, I think, yeah. Well, in BC anyways, like I think some schools, like the high schools must have started, but for some reason I wasn't at school. And so I was just skipping school that day.
But nothing else that's happened around the world has caused that to happen again, you know? Like, why is this the one and only time we all remember?
I mean,
going...
there are moments where schools kind of stop and, people understand that, this is a difficult time. It's usually pretty related to the dominant status quo, whether or not they think it's a time where everyone has to kind of like, stop and and say we have to be sensitive to what's going on, but it's typically tied to the status quo, and if you're showing any kind of feelings outside of that status quo whatsoever, it's considered to be not your pain, an excuse.
Yeah.
But whatever reason they can give you as to, why you basically have to shut up, not pay attention to it, and just kind of keep focused on your job. But there is some good news. If you can put up that article from CTV News.
Yes.
There you go. Now, I mean, we don't know the entire context to this, but it says universities offering exam deferrals, holds on tuition as war rages in the Middle East. Now, if you go down, I think it's not just Queens, but I'm pretty sure it said McGill at one point too.
Yeah, so
A
they have
spokesman for
Carleton, University, McGill.
University of Victoria.
Yeah, Queen's
So
University.
a spokesperson from McGill University says in an email about access to academic accommodations and mental health resources has been sent to students from Iran, Bahrain, Israel, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Oman, Palestine, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, and the UAE. Now that is actually a positive sign, that you can ask for deferrals, you can ask for extensions. It is actually, a step in the right direction. I think that we need to, acknowledge those steps in the right direction. So, thoughts?
I think it is a positive step. I think it's a good thing, and I think I'm curious, I think that it is a really positive step, and I think it is good for them to be like taking things. It almost feels like these universities are taking it seriously when so many other spaces are not. Like it's kind of like there's so many institutions that are just like not addressing kind of what's going on, and I think that these academic universities doing that is a good job. What I'm curious about though is that, so like for example, as an Indigenous person, when I disclose that I'm Indigenous. It's always asked like, where are you from? How do you identify? Um, are these organizations like, do people self-identify their culture or their place of origin if they're not Indigenous?
Well, it depends. You're asking about the laws on those
No,
matters?
no, I'm more asking like how, like for UVic, for example, is like, oh, we've reached out to students on an individual basis, like at a as a like a hugely populated university, as these big universities are, where
I think in this case they're reaching out to people who are international students first,
yeah,
Yeah.
who they say
yeah,
where they're born, right? So I
yeah,
know, like, I'm an immigrant, so it would say I was an immigrant. It would say that I was born in London, England.
yeah.
So,
I feel like he doesn't care.
you know,
It doesn't
The
count.
Queen
I
died. You should give
understand.
him a day
I
off.
understand the Queen of England died, or Andrew was taken into custody. How could we help you? Which I wouldn't put
Yeah,
past them to say something like that. I know you're
yeah.
very traumatized by this,
I need a day to celebrate. Thank you.
but yeah, you
So it
would.
is a step in the right direction, but
It
then
is.
is it put back onto the students who are already going through like a very, very close struggle, like with who are closely related to their like have relatives and family members who are experiencing like the on the ground happenings. Is it kind of then on them to like reach out for accommodations? Like it's kind of the age old
Yes.
Yeah,
of
it
Yes,
is.
it would
yeah,
be.
Yeah.
Of
yeah,
course.
where
Yeah,
it's like
it would
that
be.
is definitely helpful, but it's like if I'm like in freeze right now because like my hometown is being demolished.
Hmm.
I don't know that demolish is the word, but like,
No,
and
demolished,
now it is also my responsibility to
obliterated.
Yeah.
obliterate it. Yeah, I feel like
Mhm.
that's more. Demolish didn't really
Yeah.
like say like
Sometimes that happens though, but yeah, obliterated.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's also my responsibility to be like, okay, like I have to send this email to say that like plead my case that it's like I need more time or exam deferral
Yeah.
because like my childhood home just got bombed.
Yeah, I would imagine there's probably going to be like snafus like that where somebody will contact them and say, "Hey, I have family in Tehran or something like that," and they're going to go, well, I mean, can you prove it?
Yeah.
Or, your
Yeah,
name
that's what I mean.
doesn't,
Like that's
yeah,
like
your name doesn't
doubly
match what I'm,
traumatic.
like, yeah, there
Yeah.
there is probably going to be some professor or lecturer that's going to do something like that. No doubt, no
Yeah.
doubt. But that goes along the lines of of them thinking that it's a con, that there will be people that think it's not a real thing. You're not really that impacted by it,
Yeah.
And I knew people in the critical pedagogy circle who, on the one hand would go up at a conference and they'd talk about like indigeneity and world indigenous things and blah, so forth and so on. I almost said blah 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 because that's what it feels like.
Boring.
Well,
but
when they're not, yeah.
Yeah, but when it came right down to it, they were always like they were the ones that controlled, as like a white faculty person, who was connected to what, how in what way you could feel. They felt everything, right, as a white person. But, if it was like, I don't know, an Iraqi who was having a conversation with somebody who was, I don't know, Ojibwe, that conversation seemed weird to them without the white person being in the middle saying like what your connections were. And that's always been the case at in higher education anyway, but that it's the white status quo that decides when things have meaning and who it has meaning for.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's always been the way. It's always been like that. And it still continues to be that way, but it's a positive sign.
It is. It's not the worst thing to do, but
no,
yeah.
I mean, it's still a positive step forward. And I think even if you do have to email and kind of like plead your case or prove it, this is a better step forward in that, like, if I were to email and ask for an extension, I would have that already as like a stepping stone for it. Instead of it being like, hey, I know this institution doesn't give a shit at all, but like also,
Plus, I can give you a photocopy of my birth certificate.
Which I use all the time for my advantage.
Says my mom's born in Iran, my dad's born in Egypt.
Giving me so much.
It looks terrible. It looks terrible. It'll help you so much because
at least they're like saying, like send us an email. It's just hard because I've just experienced that, and then they've been like, oh no.
Not you.
It's like, you told me to do that.
Yeah.
But I think that it is a positive, and like it does open the space for them to also still be held accountable, being like, you said, like, it's in the newspaper. You said you would give us deferrals.
Yeah. I would feel like I'm conning them though. Like that's a very true. If
you would feel like you're what?
Conning them. If I wrote 100%.
Yeah, because it's not validated. I mean, as we get further into our discussion of what's been going on in the last week, I mean, you've got like the so-called leader of the free world openly calling for a genocide.
But why would that affect?
Yeah,
me,
and
I guess.
that doesn't seem to be as big of a deal as it probably should be. Like one would expect a bigger pushback from the rest of the Western community, of leaders. It hasn't. So it's hard to see that and go, oh, well, this part of who I am is considered to be genocide worthy in today's environment. Boy, I don't feel very comfortable, contacting a faculty member and like, depending on their kindness on this in any way.
Yeah, I guess it depends. Yeah, true, on your direct instructor or professor.
No one having to depend on that.
I mean, how do you know? You don't know.
Yeah.
You have no idea. You have no idea how that person really thinks and what they do. What they say in public compared to what they do behind closed doors, what they do in smaller circles are, entirely different things.
But they put this is a safe space on their office door, so
they have a rainbow sticker on their syllabus.
So I'm confused.
I mean, I learned a long time ago that you are very careful about the information that you share with teachers and professors.
Yeah, like what's the ACAB equivalent?
What's
Do
the
not
what?
be trusted.
Like the ACAB, but the equivalent for
higher of academia.
You gotta explain that to me because I'm old. I don't know what you're
Like
talking
the
about.
ACAB is it's like like Antifa phrase, like all cops are bastards.
Oh,
It's like they once if you're in the system upholding the system, like there's like you can't be trusted.
So what's the one for teachers, you know?
What's the academia one?
No teachers
we don't
are
know.
trustworthy.
Yeah.
They can use it against you. And I remember one time telling a CEGEP teacher that I was, because they came to me and they went, "Oh, you look very tired, and your assignments aren't as good as they used to be." And I said, "Oh, I'm getting ready to go to university, and I've got like this part-time job, so I'm putting money aside and blah blah blah." And then they were like, "Oh, aren't your parents going to help you?" So it got into this like conversation where I thought, "Oh, this person really cares for me." And then later down the line, I was like, "Wow, how come I can't recover from these bad marks I'm getting from this person?" And then the guy's answer was, "Well, look, I know you're going through a really hard time, so it really showing in your work." And I'm like, "Is it though? Is it really showing in my work?" Or are you just kind of like now using this against me as an excuse for easy marking?
What the hell?
You know? Yeah, I couldn't recover with him no matter what I did. I couldn't recover. So I went from being like this A student into being this like C student, and it was just a tailspin that I couldn't get
He's
out
like,
of.
"Oh yeah, you're busy," and you're like, "Actually, like I quit that job," and like
Yeah, no, it didn't make a
this
difference.
this assignment and the assignment I handed to you in September are like quite similar.
Yeah, no, and it didn't make a difference. And in those days, you didn't argue with professors over marks or anything like that. Teachers did with marks. So I was like, okay, I've been tagged, and you got to be really, really careful about like what you
So you
share with
disclose
people.
information to.
Hmm. Yeah, because I would say to you guys all the time when you were on supervision, when you guys were being in service teachers. For those that don't know, teachers get placed in what we call a practicum, but it's what it is basically like it's a stage. I've said two words that probably people may not know.
Yeah,
It's-
If you don't know,
You like when you
If you don't
get
know
before
practicum,
you
you're
become
gonna
a
know
real
stop.
teacher, they let you practice.
Yeah, if you don't know the Latin, you're gonna know the French word. That's for sure. Yeah. What's the other word that you use?
Practicum
for
is a good word.
An apprenticeship.
I think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, apprenticeship.
like an apprenticeship, right? So, and I would always say to not only the students that I was supervising, but all students, when they tell you to, like, your professor or usually your professor or your supervisor tells you, look, I want you to keep a journal about, all your reflections, about all the things that you're going through and all the difficulties. Well, after a while, I realized that would get used against students. So I would say, keep two journals. One journal if you really want to. I know you don't think it's going to be useful for you right now, but that's your own personal journal that you don't show anyone. Then have a journal that you're going to show your professor
reflections.
or your supervisor, because I guarantee you, if you say something like, "Oh, today I had a really difficult time with classroom management," they're going to be like, "Classroom management? I'm focusing on that. I'm focusing
Oh
on
my
that."
God,
and
right?
then
And like, how's your
it-
classroom management? And they're like hanging on to it by a thread, and you're like, I feel
Yeah.
fine now.
yeah.
Well,
So I always told them, just be careful. Be really careful what you write down.
True that.
Because it does. It gets used against you. God damn, these places are horrible environments. All right, so let's get to something.
Yay!
I was gonna
Let's talk.
I was gonna fish out some of my old PowerPoints and question Dobler as to whether or not
Oh,
she
so
remembered these
stressed.
things. But the stress I thought was too
I'm
much.
like,
But
you're like, do you remember this? I'm like, I don't. It was a decade ago. I have
And then
that
he
saved in my
pulls up
phone.
your old journals, and he's like, "I remember when
well,
you
why do
wrote."
I remember it then?
No,
Why do I
you're-
remember it? You don't. Where's the commitment?
You did it every semester, every year for.
Oh,
how
what are you
many-
saying? I just recanned my stuff over and over again?
There's an
One-
element of it.
One of the things that did come up a lot on curriculum design was the idea of like that teachable moment. What happens when your classroom is, you're supposed to be teaching on, I don't know, let's pick something in grade 6 that you'd be teaching on. Pick
Been a
something.
while. Long division.
Long division, okay? But the class has
Well,
just
that's like
seen,
grade 4. But okay, good.
the class has just seen something, where let's say a crazy scenario where the most powerful person on the face of the earth says he wants to commit genocide. And how focused,
Imagine.
how focused are they going to be on whatever their social studies, at the time is? Maybe it's like, I don't know, the
Egypt. It's grade
yeah,
7, Egypt.
Oh,
well,
that's
Egypt
and
wouldn't be
that's
bad.
fun.
That actually you could kind of tie it
That's
in
kind
a
of
little bit
rough.
there. But
It's
I don't know.
it's
Let's
it's
say
only
it's
ancient Egypt always.
if
It's
I don't know,
only ancient Egypt.
settlers of New France or something like that.
And it's
they
actually the Christian version of it from we watched The Prince of Egypt.
Oh my
Oh,
God!
that's
Now that's history right there.
The musical numbers are so good though.
That's history right
I'm
there.
so
And so
sorry.
one of the things I said you have to kind of build into
Yeah.
your day is that you have to keep up to date with what's going on.
Mm.
This goes back to the last episode we had where we talked about this idea of neutrality in teachers, which is complete bullshit. So you have to keep up to date with what's going on. So you have to be prepared that, yeah, maybe you're going to have kids in your class who are going to be deeply impacted by what they heard or what they read in social media. And that has to be a moment in time where you have to ask yourself, is this a teachable moment?
Hmm.
Am I going to stop the class and talk about it? Because if I don't talk about it, I'm teaching something. And I'm teaching, null curriculum is teaching something. The absence of teaching something specific is sending an important message to your students. I don't care whether they're in like elementary school or in university, but not talking about something is saying that it's either taboo or it's not important, right?
100%. I have multiple cousins who, as we were teenagers, were kicked out of the classroom for being talking about residential school, for being told the teachers actively denying it.
Yes.
And like this
Yeah.
was, I guess I've been graduating high school a long time now, but not that long, like not
No,
20 years ago.
no. I remember in 98, when 98, 99, when I started doing my PhD, I remember that was a problem in the subject area that I was researching, and some faculty saying that the whole residential school thing was overblown. It wasn't,
Yeah.
it wasn't true, and there's no, there's no numbers on it, there's no data on it, there's no this, there's
there's
no
no
that.
data on it.
These are just stories, and I'm like, yeah. And so when you accumulate stories,
Yeah,
then
that's
that
data.
becomes data,
Yeah.
right? But
So
it,
I'm curious because I think what like you're kind of leading to like in the the teachable moments of it all, I think there's a level of I want to say bravery for teachers, especially talking about the war that's happening right now.
mhm.
Like that, I would be really curious to know how many teachers are making teachable moments out of this and how many people are not addressing it at all.
Well, it's interesting that you asked that because I posted that on social media, and I just asked. I don't have that many followers. Like I've got 1,000 people that I'm like friends with, kind of thing. But most of them, I would say, are, they're either activism or education oriented. And I asked the question, if anyone can, if you've checked out where your place of work in education or your alma mater to see has anybody made a statement in regards to all of the elementary schools, high schools, universities, students, teachers, professors who have been completely ended and destroyed in Iran, in Gaza, especially in Lebanon. Has there been any statement whatsoever? And the response has been overwhelmingly no. They're just silent about it. Silent. So where is the solidarity? It just doesn't seem to, at least amongst the administration in particular, and then I would say the faculty next. And we know the problems that happened at McGill University, where the student union was being very active, and then they got crushed by administration. Over Israel Palestine, they just got crushed by them. But you can see that they've once again, as they've always done, just missed an opportunity and time to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Right. I know that one student put down at one of my past students put down that his university made a statement about safe and responsible dialogue on the subject.
What is safe and responsible dialogue?
Yeah.
It was, I mean, like, it's just a way of saying don't talk. Or whatever you're talking about, it better go on this side, it better not go on that side.
So
Right?
they call it word salad. It's just word salad, so it doesn't look like, yeah. So it's like, oh, we've addressed this. Here's some word salad.
Yeah, when you talk about genocide, make sure it's safe and...
That's crazy.
What was the other word? It was safe and what?
Safe and respectful, I think, were the words that were being used. You know, and a good, a really good person at Bishop's University, like a really, really genuine good person, went to, I think, recognizing probably that the university itself was going to take a very
He's trying to think.
Stand,
he's trying to think
cowardly stand on what was going on. It's been going on, since for the last like 3 years. They're going to take a cowardly stand on it, pretending that somehow they're standing up for like a higher virtue or something like that. But it's a cowardly stand. It's a status quo stand.
Yeah.
And went to faculty council and asked for a vote on faculty council to basically validate that this is something that we shouldn't be afraid to talk about. So he did that, and I communicated with him, and I said to him, I think it's amazing that you did that. You're such a brave person. My only fear is that you've got a status quo that decides when something is inappropriate or dangerous. Right? They decide. Right?
Yeah.
So, if you, I don't know, Dobler, let's say you decide as a part-time faculty member that, you're working in a, like most universities are, a majority white university, and you say, I'm really sick and tired of how complicit our institutions are, including this university.
Oh, it's over once you say that.
Yeah, on not solving or taking seriously the highway of tears.
Yeah.
Right. And now, if you start saying this university space, as opposed to just being general about it, they're gonna say that you're being aggressive, you're being hurtful,
you're not allowed to
violent.
criticize your place of work publicly.
You are,
or even to them. I mean, even not publicly.
You are as in higher education.
In higher education, yes.
Yeah, you're not.
But not even
as a teacher.
Not as a teacher.
I mean, like, no, you're not.
Not as like a regular employee somewhere.
No, you're not. You're not allowed to. I mean, you can take the you can take the status quo for position, and you can say how wonderful we are for doing our part on bringing attention and not forgetting the highway of tears. And there could be like a group of indigenous women kind of off in the corner going like, what are you talking about?
Why are they on the corner?
What's being done? Like, what's being done? And you can't say anything, because if you say anything, well, you're the bad person. You're the mean person.
You're mean. You hurt their feelings.
You hurt their feelings, yeah.
It's like the lack of accountability. It's like, I might be talking about, like, I'm not talking about you negatively. You do negative things, and I'm talking about it.
But you should be allowed to talk even about them negatively. Like, how sensitive? Yeah. They are the most sensitive group of people.
Very sensitive. Yeah, very sensitive.
It's insane.
I mean, there's a reason why the book White Fragility did so well. Because it spoke to a lot of people.
Round 2. We're like, we need to get into like let's get back into, we need another cycle of that, because I feel like we're forgetting.
The thing, books like that, though.
People were quoting White Fragility while crying white tears, for God's sake.
Well, that's my thing. I'm like, does that book actually help? Is it something for BIPOC people to read to go like, oh, I'm not alone? Like, yes, this is true. But do white people ever read it and go, this is about me?
Yeah, it did too well for it to
Putting
not be
that
a
euphoria.
book.
It's this
Yeah,
play about us.
yeah, it did really well. You know.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And a lot of people were, like I said, a lot of people were like quoting from it while doing like white tears at the same time.
Okay, but see, that is my point. I don't mean to be pessimistic. I just sometimes I think
It doesn't mean they get it.
no, but that's my thing. Like
Just
I think a
'cause
lot of the
tool's there,
time
they don't know how to use it.
people read stuff like that and they're like, yes, yes, yes. This is about everyone else. I'm really good. It's never about me. Like it's really hard to self-reflect.
Yeah,
But you
it
can't
is.
force anyone to self-reflect though. So I mean,
No, you can't. And if you challenge them on it, you're
well then you're mean again. Yes, it's
you're
like a
mean.
losing
You're-
battle.
Yeah, you're mean again, and that's
You're
always
big
the way it is. All right, let's look at Donald Trump's text that he put out.
Oh, his tweets.
His what are they
His-
called?
his
Not
truths.
They're truths. There's truths on Truth Social.
What?
All right, here's one that he did.
Oh, wait, we'll do the first one, huh?
The first
Is it
one.
the new Twitter? Is that what this is? Or
Yeah,
Truth?
it's Truth
Yeah, the
Social,
Truths,
and look,
yeah.
it when they repost it, it's called retruths. That is disgusting. So lame.
So is like he's not friends with Elon Musk anymore, so he's not using X?
Yeah,
Is
well,
that
'cause
what-
they got a
I think
divorce.
I think it does get reposted. What I find so funny about like that image they have of Donald Trump is that
Look
it's
look at the
that design is
Sucks.
actually like a psychopathic villain in the Marvel world.
yes, dude. Like
It is. Yeah, he's a psychopathic villain, and Donald Trump has basically used that same image.
bro, he's being like Lex Luthor, and it's just okay. Whatever.
So here he's wrote down on
Like
Easter
how
morning.
obvious can I be with people like okay, go ahead, sorry.
He wrote,
It's a lot.
on
a lot.
Easter morning, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There
You're
will be
reading it very
nothing
kindly.
like it.
This is not how I read
Open-
it in my head.
Yeah, open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll all be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. President Donald J. Trump. I mean, it was a shocking text to see first thing in the morning. I mean, the crazy bastards part. I mean, part of me is Iranian, and we're like, oh, okay, crazy bastards. it wasn't like a direct insult, you know.
Me?
But like,
It's like you crazy bastards.
you
It's like-
crazy, we're crazy bastards.
You're
know?
crazy.
This is
or
this
you'll be
is-
living in hell. Is it not like?
This is completely unhinged. This is him openly saying that.
He's the leader of an entire country.
Yeah, and these are war crimes. These are
Yeah.
absolute war crimes. So even Power Plant Day, Bridge Day, it's all war crimes. They've already committed war crimes. He's openly saying, "I'm going to commit." I'm going to. You know, I mean, he already has committed war crimes.
Well, I mean, this.
And then a few days later, he puts out, after he was told by everyone, no doubt, that, you know, hey, take it easy on the war crime admissions.
We do that in private. We don't say that out loud.
Yeah. And he was like, all right, I'll calm myself down. And then he wrote this: a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again.
Fucking disgusting.
I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change,
Like, bro, who's we? And also, what the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail. Radicalized?
Look at his profile picture. Look at his
You're
profile
calling for a
picture.
genocide, and you've got your you know, you have open prayer in your office where your chief, I don't know, minister speaks in tongues to you. So I mean, like, I don't know, less radicalized mind. Maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? You freaking
How can you
maniac.
say that and like
You
just
just
say
said
like
there's total regime change, and now you're saying a whole civilization will die tonight, which is him saying a genocide. We will find out tonight one of the most important moments in a long and complex history of the world. I like the way he capitalizes "world." I mean, I shouldn't even bother. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran. We love them. We knew them
But I
well.
don't get it. But we're gonna kill them all.
I genocided all of
No, but they're asking to be genocided. You don't understand. They all speak to Trump, and they're like, please kill us.
Yes. Yes, that is something that we will talk about later on. That
he hears voices.
Typical Western voice appropriation. One person talks; it's on behalf of everybody. We just got to get the right person to say something, and then
I
that
just
person
watched
speaks
this on
everybody.
Netflix. I watched a documentary that like just reflects exactly what you're saying. It's one of those like Mormon ones where this guy was like, "Yeah, God's talking directly to me."
Yeah, well,
But Trump is like, Iranians are talking directly to me. I can hear.
Anyway, he didn't. That's not enough. You know what he said. Then he referred to us all as animals. Can you play that YouTube?
Because they killed 45,000 people in the last month, more than that. I think it could be as much as 60. They kill protesters. They're animals. And we have to stop them, and we can't let them have a nuclear weapon. Very simple. They want a nuclear weapon. They've been trying for a long time. I stopped them with the Obama horrible Iran nuclear deal. I stopped them in a lot of different ways. We got rid of Soleimani, the evil genius. He was an evil genius. We got rid of him. And then we stopped him with the B-2 bombers.
Soleimani. I don't know what he's talking about. Soleimani. He just made up. He just made up a name there. He made up this death toll that, like, you know, investigative journalists have, you know, completely debunked this idea that during the protest 45,000, now he's got to 60,000.
He said maybe
people were killed.
Who knows?
You know, yeah, he just has to say it, and then that's enough. People start repeating it.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is a thing that happened. He did regime change, but they're still animals. I blew up their nuclear assets. They're still there. It's just he
can say anything though.
Pure white privilege on full display. This is the craziness that so many of us BIPOC people have to live with. This, like, I will invent reality right here, right on the spot. Mm-hmm. Anything I say is what it means.
No
it just means it.
Yeah.
It just means it. You know, I've said it. Good enough. Bang. Done.
But this is just this has gone to such a high level that now everyone is aware of it. Like he's pushed it. No, because I feel like other times people do that. It's like quieter gaslighting, so you can't call them out. But he's like truth socialing it everywhere.
Well, I mean, we're talking about education, and the news media still repeats this number of 60,000 killed in protests. And there have been some investigative journalists, like the Gray Zone, for instance, where they tracked down where that number came from, and that number came from basically a pro-USA Iranian advocacy group. I can't even call them like a news group, that came up with that number because they're pro-monarchy. And so they came up with a number, and because they're brown and because they have Iranian names, then they're used as a source, even though they are, you know, they're spreading propaganda.
Yeah, but they're saying the right things.
But they're saying the right propaganda, yeah. Right? So it gets repeated over and over again. And the conversations I've had with some is just use your critical thinking skills for a second. Do you remember when COVID happened? Do you remember what New York City, what Manhattan looked like when they had those first round of deaths, and they had no idea where to put the bodies? They had no idea, right? Yeah. And this is according to United States. Tehran is the most surveilled place. They've got cameras on them all the time. They know how to do pinpoint strikes everywhere. Yet, where are these mass graves of these people? Like, where are they? The Iranian government put out a list of people who were killed. They haven't been able to kind of go like, oh, there are people that are not on this list or anything like that. But they're still going to repeat 45. Now it's 60. Then it's going to become 100. Then it's going to become, and it all becomes an excuse to dehumanize and to kill. And there's no pushback.
And like, it's not a new tactic to call a group of people animals and then use it as justification for genocide. Like, that's happened again and again.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you can take everything that he said about crazy bastards and, the moral excuse to wipe them out because, they're animals. And you can go through any point of time during the colonization of the Americas, and you will find somebody who said the same thing about an indigenous group.
Yeah.
They can't be reasoned with, right? They're
No, like
animals.
that, tried and true. But then even I feel like I remember them saying, like I remember reading about them saying similar things in Nazi Germany.
Yeah. Oh, don't do
Like
that.
it's
Oh God, stop doing that. If you're making that excuse, if you're making that comparison, you're going to get into a lot of trouble.
well,
Yeah.
sorry.
But like, you know, it's just I'm kind of waiting for a university to show some kind of moral backbone and
You think it's
openly
gonna
say, sorry?
You think that'll happen?
No.
No. Okay. You said you're waiting, and I'm like, you're giving
No.
me Hillary Duff. Waiting for
No.
you is like waiting for the rain in a drought.
Yeah, no, it won't happen. No, it won't happen because of the kind of people that go into administration, the kind of people that get promoted, and the kind of faculty that get promoted into administration are not, they're not like moral.
No, they're not
They're not risk takers, right?
Yeah.
They're very much like, I mean, I can't tell you how many administrators I've heard.
I could change it from the inside, and then they just follow the status quo again and again and again.
Yeah,
Like, oh, but it's more complex than
or
that.
you see
It's
them
not more
taking,
complex than that.
yeah, you see them taking like some, you know, really just like it's just a moral stance that's just so.
Like, but we've added a land
Status quo.
acknowledgement on the email thread.
Mhm.
Oh,
great.
thank you.
Don't do. But
Yeah.
we made a public statement on whatever Twitter X now that says we don't agree with the war. We put the public statement out there.
I mean, have they even said that?
That would be
No,
crazy.
I don't think they will.
I don't even know if they would say
No,
that.
they just say
Usually
make
it's-
sure your language is safe and nice when you talk about
Mhm.
war.
Yeah, usually it's
And if
Israel
you
has
can
the right
prove
to.
it, you can have exam deferral.
You know, it's usually like Israel has the right to defend itself. It's just everything the guy's saying is so like unscientific as well. This whole idea of like they're building a nuclear bomb, and it feels like a.
Where does that fall into it? Because I feel like that's come up a lot more lately, and I'm like, was that the original? Did we change the goalpost?
No,
Like,
I mean,
was that the original worry?
this has been going on forever. That
I thought
they
it was
say
about
And
gas.
it's been going. I even wrote a chapter about it in a book on Islamophobia, where I said like, you're talking about knowledge. You're talking about knowledge. Like, there are, you know, Iran is an advanced science like society, right?
Scary.
It is an advanced science, and so you can't like, because this is a common thing that Israel does a lot, is they kill Iranian professors of science if they're doing research. Oh yeah, lots of them. They assassinate them, thinking that if they assassinate them, they just assassinate the knowledge. But
Yeah.
you're
That's
not going to assassinate the knowledge, right?
wild.
You know, no matter how many times it's been said over and over again, no matter how many examples you give, right? You know, if we really had universities that were critical thinking spaces, you'd go, okay, during the Iran-Iraq War, the Iraqis, with the United States' help, used chemical weapons against the Iranians. When the Iranians said to their leaders, especially their religious leaders, we can do the same thing back to them, they said, no, you can't. It goes against Islamic principles to use, you know, weapons of mass destruction. You can't do it. So there's already that. You've already seen that Iranians will not use things that are considered to be weapons of mass destruction, right? Yeah. But yet, even though that exists, even though they've proven that they were willing to take huge losses in a horrible way, it still doesn't mean anything. It still doesn't mean that they say, you know, we're not building, we won't build a nuclear weapon because it goes against our religious ethics. They go, yeah, you will. And they go, no, we're not. And they go, well, you're not. And they go, okay, we're not. Oh, no, but you're not. Okay, we're not. No, but you better not.
Bro,
okay, we're not.
like.
But it's, I think it's, and I see this happening like in like smaller scale too, but it's like the US would absolutely lie about it.
Of course they would.
And so they're like, okay, but you're going to lie about it too. And it's just like it's not like,
would.
it's the equation of things where
they're
it's
not animals. They're not animals.
Yeah.
You see, that's the thing, is they're not animals. If United States came out tomorrow and said, oh, guess what? We built a Death Star. Everyone would be like, yeah, I guess they built a Death Star. You know?
Honestly,
like,
I would probably feel that way.
You know,
Like, I guess this makes sense.
I guess they did. Like, no,
The
United,
delusion is so big that we cannot be surprised. Well, that means knock on wood. I don't
no,
want to say that out loud.
you would not be surprised about anything United States suddenly admitted they were working on.
Yeah.
If they said they had a death ray, you'd be like, yeah, they're making a death
Yeah.
ray.
Checks out.
If they said, hey, we've developed a virus that makes soldiers' feet grow 10 times as big as normal, so they can't run, you'd be like, yeah, I guess they built a virus. That
Weird,
makes
but
people's feet
okay.
grow. you wouldn't, because
That's
they're
a strange tactic.
They
I
do.
don't
Well,
like
they
it.
can't. They're
Flat-footed.
stuck right there.
I
They're
don't-
easy to shoot at.
I
Their feet
hate
are so
that.
big.
I hate that more than the death ray, actually.
You don't want the giant feet?
No,
Don't you
I
want
think I would protest against that.
Just kill me. Just kill me. I don't want to have to go shoe shopping now. I mean, you wouldn't be. You know they're doing all these kinds of things in secret. You know they are. You know they're doing things in secret that could be like world ending.
Yeah.
You know they are, right?
Well, I think that's like that's to be expected almost at this point.
Yeah, I know. We just accept it. You know, we just accept it as it is. All right, can we go to that? They are asking to be bombed.
This was a real heavy one, hey?
Yeah. Now, can we talk about how they're asking to be bombed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So here he says, Trump says, this is from where? This is perfect, because this is so CBC, our tax-paying money, put into perfect use. Trump says Iranians are willing to suffer U.S. bombing power plants in order to have freedom. Can you go down? Because this is just such a CBC article.
Mm-hmm.
Tehran has rejected the latest ceasefire proposal, yada, yada, yada. And go down further, where he's quoted, "We have a plan because of the power of our military, where every bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night." Trump said in Washington, power plants in Iran, he continued, to be burning and exploding and never to be used again.
What the fuck?
He refused to say whether any civilian targets would be off limits in the U.S. response. Well, they haven't been off limits till now, so...
It's interesting that...
Yeah, when asked about excessive incidental civilian harms, Trump told reporters he's not at all concerned about committing war crimes.
That's beautiful.
Of course,
That's
he's not
really
looking
beautiful.
further.
Or because he
No,
thinks
yeah.
he defines war crime.
Look,
So
but
this-
no,
this is-
civilians want bombing to continue.
This is so CBC. Asked why Iranians would want him to follow up on his threat to blow up the country's infrastructure, Trump said, "Everyday citizens are willing to suffer in order to have freedom. Please keep bombing. Do it," Trump claimed. U.S. officials have heard Iranians say via what he referred to as intercepts.
What's an intercept? Is that like a spy?
It means it doesn't make any sense. So he's saying they're talking directly to him, but they've intercepted these messages. So who are they talking to? It's not an intercept if it's coming directly to you. If they say you're telling them that, okay?
They're asking someone else.
Yeah, and these are people that are living where the bombs are exploding. He said. He added, and when we leave and they're not hitting those areas, they're saying, "Please come back, come back, come back." And there's nothing, there is no pushback in this CBC article paid for by taxpayer money, none whatsoever, going like it's not clear who he's talking to, why he calls it an intercept, what kind of a mad person would ever say, "Come back and bomb me again." This is completely just from the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, completely accepting language of dehumanizing a group of people. It's
insane.
Completely.
It's insane.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's crazy that people wrote that and they were like, "Yeah, this was good."
This is us journalizing. This is us doing our journalistic duties.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no way this could happen in another situation. There are Israelis right now who call what's going on in Palestine a genocide. And some of them are saying, look, if this is the way we're going to behave as a country, we shouldn't exist as a country anymore. There's no way somebody could go to the CBC and go, Israelis are openly saying that they're committing a genocide and they shouldn't be a country anymore. And the CBC here wouldn't go like, okay, we're just gonna passively write that without going like, who was the person who said it, how many of them are there? Is this a minority voice? Is this like a radical voice? Or like, no way, no way. But because it's an Iranian and this is the CBC, let's just print stuff that dehumanizes
Wasn't
them.
it even Iranian? It was Trump saying an Iranian said.
That he intercepted, but also
That he-
they
but
said
those
it directly
people-
to
They said
him.
this to me, and it's like, are you there on the ground?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's absolutely insane. It's absolutely
not-
insane.
Sure, if it was somewhere else on social media I saw it, or if it was our thread, but there was a guy who was talking about, I think he was American, and he was like, we need to realize that we have much more in common with like people on the ground and around than we ever do with any of these elites. And like he like kind of like went off about it, where it's like we need to really, really look at what's going on and like realize that we have far much more in common with people on like a regular people than with like any of these like money wielding people, these world leaders. And it's like it was like kind of pushing that message, and it's like I think that's people don't think that. I don't think that's a common stream of thought.
I mean, you can go to YouTube and you can find tons of like, travel blogs where somebody in the last, 5 years has gone to Iran, an American who goes there and says, I've heard so many negative things about Iran. I decided to go to Tehran by myself. And you can see they're treated like with the regular hospitality that Iranians treat everybody, especially if they think it's another person who's from like the other side of the table, right? They're going to have this natural kind of way of, okay, let's show you our hospitality and let's have a discussion. And they don't go to the rich areas. They go to the poorer areas, where the working class areas, and they get treated like royalty. Then they all come back saying, I challenge you to find one where somebody goes there and says like they are evil. I have looked into Satan's eyes. they all say the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? But they have been just so demonized. And I know what this demonization is like. I've had to live with it. You've had to live with stereotypes. Like, we know what it's like, and it's just so regular that it's just
I think
just
it's part of the
accepted.
Western culture, like just like Western supremacy. It's bred into it's part of the status quo, I guess we've been talking about.
It is. And then and when you look at those numbers, they say whether it's not the 60,000 or 45,000 or we want to be killed, like kill us for freedom, kill me for freedom, it's again this power gets to decide what voices are heard. Right? That's always been the case. I know when I first became aware of it was in Gulf War One, where you had the false story told, where it was actually a Kuwaiti ambassador's daughter who was studying in the States in theater, who gave a speech to Congress saying that she was a Kuwaiti nurse at a nursery, a hospital nursery, and saw Iraqi soldiers taking babies out of incubators and throwing them on the ground to kill them. And it's not a true story. It never happened. No one asked, who is this person? Who is this girl? If there's a war that just happened last week, how are you here in the United States telling the story? They were like, we got our story. She's now the voice that we're all going to listen to.
Yeah.
That's the voice. That's the one. That's it. Right? And then that's the one that gets played over and over and over again. It's
A collective big sigh. Yeah, it's pretty yeah. I don't know, I wonder what the next week will endeavor.
The Death Star.
probably happy good news. Happy good news.
Death Star. Imagine he called it. We've turned into The Simpsons. Predicting things.
Yeah. that finally, that Donald Trump admitted he was just actually madly in love with Iranians and divorced Melania and just, had a mass marriage to all of Iran. Yeah.
Dad,
We're
congratulations.
going back into the Mormon cult documentary I watched last night. That's what it sounds like.
This is what I wanted all this time,
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more we could talk about. I'm just now I'm just kind of like pooped out. I don't.
It could be saved till next week,
I don't. I mean, I guess
More
the question
things will come, I'm sure.
I guess the question is like if all of these things are being kept quiet at universities, if you're asked to for things that clearly have a lot of emotional attachment for, I think, not just BIPOC people, but white people who show any sense of critical thinking and empathy, and they're not complete hypocrites. How do you respond to a space where you're asked to be quiet? What can you do?
Not much. I mean, I don't know. You could be insubordinate, but then you get in a lot of trouble. So
yeah. You can be insubordinate. You can enter the very, very long process of a human rights tribunal complaint and have it stretched out over half a decade.
Imagine.
No, not any of us living through that. Being like, well,
there's a lot of us. Like, there's a lot of us living through that. There is a lot of us living through that, and I guess that's the only answer, right? Is that you come to a point.
Justice.
Yeah, you come to a point where you can't be subordinate to it. You just got to stand up and you have to say something. And it's
got to be insubordinate.
You got to be insubordinate. You can't look at something that is a wrong and say I'm just going to go along with it. I mean, I guess you can if you're wired that way. I don't think you
can.
I think a lot of people can.
I think it takes a certain level of disassociation too.
I think a lot of people have that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people also are not aware that being silent on an issue is in itself a statement that you're making.
Who, me?
Like it's super easy to be like, well, I just won't talk about it, and that's okay. I'm not making a stance. I think a lot of people feel that way.
Which is the hope. Which is the hope. The hope is that people don't talk about it. We have some moments in time where people get. I hope this is going to be one of those moments. Like another George Floyd moment. Where people get like genuinely angry and they show that anger and they say that this is just not acceptable. This is unacceptable. This is talk of a genocide and a whole system around it that protects this person. I'm speaking on genocidal terms.
That's happening in very, very small pockets. Like, shout out, because like even in like near my counselor's office, there's like an MLA office, and like quite often I've seen people like maybe one or two like older non-Indigenous people like picketing with like a Palestine stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, it's happening in little ways, and there are brave people who are like pushing, being insubordinate, like standing outside the MLA office being like, do something. And like, I think that we can, the small grain of hope that I have today is knowing that, or believing, I'm choosing to believe that that's happening all over the place, where there are small pockets of communities that are not ostriching with their heads in the sand.
So yeah, that's, you know what, you've given me hope, because just by saying that, I remembered something that occurred recently, and I got to be careful because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But somebody came to our house to do
in a towel. I'm just kidding. I guess that episode never got
to do a kind of an inspection on something. And as they were coming down the stairs, and I was showing them, I said, okay, before I open this door, which sounds super creepy in itself, I said, before I open this door, I don't want you to be scared at what you're going to see. I said,
an awful statement.
It sounds terrible.
You made it worse. What?
It sounds terrible. I said, because on the wall there is a flag of Palestine and a flag of Iran, and I opened up the door, and the person looked at it, and I guess they were happy they weren't like
Okay.
bodies hanging
No,
from the
you
ceiling.
set it up like a 50 Shades of Grey moment.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what
Terrible.
the hell?
Yeah,
Terrible.
you're like, here's a life
And then the person turned to me
you.
and smiled. The person turned to me and smiled and said, "I'm not afraid of those flags at all," which was very positive. It was like a very positive kind of like I joked about it, right? The response back was like reassurance, like, "No, I'm not afraid of that," you know. Where and that kind of made me feel like, okay, I feel a little bit better about the world we're in. So yeah, Doubler, I guess you are right. There are these small moments that are growing.
It's all we have, sir.
Oh no. No, but that's good because then other people in that community see that and then hopefully feel brave to join that themselves, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that's the hope, is that like you just need a few people who are brave enough to stand up and say something, and then hopefully
that's how
people
I
in
think
their
that
in their inner circle or their outer circle realize, yeah, I need to join them and speak out too. Like
Yeah. Or at least I need to like do some research.
yeah.
I guess I need to look it up. But not look it up on AI. Don't do that. Do
Well,
your own
that-
research. I'm not
it's-
advocating putting it into ChatGPT.
I can't remember it's not fair. I mean, I don't want to steal somebody else's idea, but
And
there
do
was
it.
another YouTube channel where the person was saying, look, it's got to be our responsibility to not just hide, like you were saying. We have to share this information. So if you do have a cousin, if you do have an uncle, if you do have a neighbor that doesn't know what's going on, don't let them just be passive. You've got to send them the information. You've got to say, look, you've got to look at this. You have to, right? It's our responsibility. Because like Roxy said, if you don't look at it, you're just accepting it, right? I can't remember who said it, but I agreed with that. I think, yeah, you have that responsibility.
I think it's really easy to, when you're talking about like a neighbor or relative, to put yourself in a mindset to not have those conversations with them, because it's really easy to be like, they won't change their mind, who cares? Like, it's really easy to become like apathetic,
Yes.
I think, to it, or like really pessimistic.
It's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes those arguments are important to have. Even, I don't know, I just think just allowing people to exist in ignorance or hate is not really great.
Yeah. Or like explain to them that their ignorance is hate. And they're like, no, my ignorance is fine. And it's like, it's not hurting anybody. And it's like, no, it
Yeah,
is.
Yeah, sometimes you have to hurt their feelings. Tough,
Yeah.
Like,
And like your feelings are a little bit less significant than like all of these people who are literally dying.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, then the most powerful man on the face of the earth talking about committing a genocide.
Yeah.
I think we need to find another phrase because I feel like that's manifestation. Being like
That he's the most
silliest
powerful man?
Yeah. Like I feel like he likes that.
Okay, you find another term for it.
It's like
and then...
Voldemort. It's like say the powers in the name.
Supreme leader.
Well,
Wait till he gets his Death
I
Star.
like that.
That's
I
the
feel like
Iranian thing.
Anything that he would like, I'd like to being like that guy that's in charge.
All right, I
wanna
think we're done
diminish
for
it.
today.
Okay.
And
Good luck.
We'll
We'll
say
see.
bye. Leave a comment. Subscribe. If you made it this far, we love you. Bye.
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 Boing, boing, boing. Boing, 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 boing.